It's almost summertime and the fishing is on fire. From bass, stripers, kingfish, and wahoos, our guys have all the information you need where to find them. This is the Texas Insider Fishing Report.
You're tuning in to the Texas Insider Fishing Report, and we want to welcome you back from hopefully a fun, safe Memorial Day weekend filled with good times, great barbecue, and even better fishing. But we're back to give you the fishing reports from all over the state, gracefully transitioning into the summer month of June. And Rick, Dave Farrell is at the CCA workbench. I know he had a great weekend on the water.
Yes,
didn't
I did. Caught some fish.
Saw that.
I hear stuff cooking too, which always makes me happy. If you hear that clanking and the sizzling there.
The sizzle?
Yeah,
that's
making me happy.
I also smell the amazingness being cooked in the studio by Lou from Fire Disc. Welcome to the show, Lou. Can't wait to see what you got cooking tonight.
We're cooking some good stuff tonight. I'm going to do a shrimp pasta for y'all. Shrimp and sausage pasta.
Shrimp pasta. You know anything about shrimp pasta, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, Gulf shrimp, obviously. We're talking about Texas has a lot of great shrimps, and so we appreciate Lou being here from Fire Disc. But you know what? We got a whole show to get to, so let's go, Bree.
As soon as we get through the show, we get to eat. All right, and first off the starting line is our Middle Coast Region Captain, Bink Grimes, with your inshore and offshore report for Freeport, Surfside, down to Matagorda Bay and Port O'Connor. Let's jump right into it, Bink.
Let's do it. Let's talk about trout first. Our trout's always going to be the most targeted species in Texas, and it's made it tough to stay on a pattern with all the wind. But there's good news. A cold front's hanging over the region. It's stalled over Texas, and light winds are forecast for all week and the weekend. So that's a good thing. June is probably my favorite summer month. We've been having good mornings on the incoming tides, fishing over sand and grass in West Matagorda Bay. Rarely went away this time of year do I throw anything but a top water. We run off on the shorelines, look for slicks, and then slide behind them and wade right through the fish. Spots like the Hump and the Cedars and the Port O'Connor area is my favorite haunt this month. In fact, I'll be there in the morning. It's about a 32-mile run from Matagorda Harbor, but the long boat ride is well worth it and rewards you with some of the best topwater action I've experienced in the last 20 years. Be prepared to deal with sharks, since these locales are sandwiched right smack dab in the middle of the Port O'Connor Jetty and Pascavallo. We put our own fish in a homemade floating 5-gallon bucket so the sharks don't steal them. We've learned over the years, if you use a stringer to put your fish on, you're just trolling for the gray linebackers. Yeah. We look forward to the calm days in June when this happens. We're going to get on those mid-bay reefs in East Matagorda Bay. Spots like Droll's Lump, Three Beacon Reef, Long Reef, Barefoot Reef, Half Moon Reef. They're all players with topwaters, Bass Assassins, Down South Lures, and Mirror Little John. And for those who want to stay in the boat, those same reefs that we're wading are great to drift as well. The baits of choice being live shrimp or their mid-coast popping fort. In fact, in East Matagorda Bay, over the last 10 years, when you're drifting, live shrimp outfishes, when you're in the boat, live shrimp outfishes any plastic 10-1. I don't know why it does, but it does. Half Moon Reef in West Matagorda Bay has been on fire when the wind allows. It's a 54-acre project built by the Nature Conservancy, and it is a trout magnet. It's like fishing a 6 to 7 foot underwater jetty. I can't tell you how many days I've caught limits in less than an hour there. The key is fishing it on a day when there's 5 to 10 knot winds. And I've got a photo there of a nice stringer trout caught while wading sand and grass on Skitter Walks and Super Spook Juniors.
All right, let's go red fishing. What you got, Bink?
Redfish, a lot of anglers are switching gears and chase redfish during these periods of high winds. And since most of those lakes are protected from the wind and they hold those reds year-round, this week we took advantage of high tides and worked Cutoff Flats, Zipper and Bayou, Oyster Lake, and Crab Lake. The best bites were at the mouth of these lakes and bayous as the tide began to fall. There are also a lot of undersized fish caught in the diversion channel in the Colorado River while drifting the banks and tossing along the drop-off of live shrimp. At Freeport and the Surfside and the Quintana jetties continue to hold both slot and bull redfish on mullet, crabs, and shrimp. And those reefs in Bastrop and Chocolate Bay have seen a mix of both rat reds and keepers. The Port O'Connor reds are best at the jetty and while drifting flats off Siluria Bayou and other deep channels adjacent to the shallow flats. Guy Lynn Smith said he's been making long drifts over those flats and tossing small topwaters like Sushi Spook Juniors and that little Skitterwalk Junior. And there's a photo there of a big 28.5-inch red that was that we tagged, and man, it stripped a lot of drag right there on Cutoff Flats.
What a nice fish. All right, you got any reports offshore?
And offshore, red snapper action is solid, but it's just been 6 to 7 footers in the Gulf. But that all changed today and through the weekend, as it's forecasted to be 2 to 3 footers. Our 3-day federal red snapper season starts June 1st and runs through Saturday, June 3rd. And here's hoping that, man, we get a little lake-like conditions so a lot of these anglers can take advantage of this little peltry season. Man, this snapper issue has really soured a lot of fishermen's faith in the federal fisheries movement. But thankfully we got CCA Texas, and they're kind of our voice to all this that's going on. And to put it bluntly, our federal red snapper management are sure to say mismanagement. It's a joke. And it just really is. If you want to catch a red snapper past June 3rd, you'll have to do it on a charter boat, and those charter boats that have bought a federal reef permit, allow you to get out there and fish through, I believe it's July the 19th. So you got about a 49-day season if you hire a charter captain.
All right, Bink, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Middle Coast region. Our Captain Bink says, inshore, Half Moon Reef in West Matagorda Bay is holding trout and black drum on live shrimp under a mid-coast popping cork. And then offshore, red snappers are good in 40 to 80 feet of water. Squid over rocks and wrecks. The fish are up to 20 pounds, Bree. What do you think about that?
I just still can't believe it's June already. What? It's crazy summer.
Daddy got a birthday coming.
Oh, you do have a birthday coming up. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, let's keep on keeping on, heading south to our lower coast region with Captain Chad Kinney covering the bite from Rockport to Laguna Madre. Hope you had a great holiday weekend, Chad.
Yeah, everything's excellent. We're going to start out down our farthest point again, down South Padre Island for our inshore. Look for trout along the Long Bar on the drop-off there, and redfish head out of South Padre. Also head to Gaswell Flats or east of the Duncan House there. On the trout there out of Padre on that Long Bar, try topwaters early, like a bone color, Rapala Skitterwalk, and then move to a soft plastic ball-tail shad later in the day. The winds are subsiding finally, so you're going to have some good colored water for trout. Look for that trout green water along that Long Bar. You'll see the grass beds up on top, and it'll drop off through there. So you'll see those guts that go through there also. So when the tidal movement starts going through there, try those guts also along that edge of that grass line, and you should have some good results with that. On the soft plastics, what I try to recommend is try a heavier jig. Heavier, what I'm saying is like a quarter ounce, and throw it towards the ICW side, towards the intercoastal side. Let it drop down, go that deeper stuff, and see if those trout are down deep. If you're not having luck with that, then go ahead and switch it back to an 1/8 ounce and see if those fish are suspended through there, and it's been some good fishing right through on there. Moving over to the redfish there out of Padre, head up the Gaswell Flats, east of Duncan House there. Try a quarter ounce weedless gold spoon or a saltwater assassin foam chartreuse have been working well. Look for some finger mullet when you're heading on those flats. Everything's real flat down here. You're averaging 2-3 foot of water. So look for that. Look for wake cushion. Look for the mullet going and mullet mud. When I talk about mullet mud, later in the day what you'll see is a big, long strip of actually like brown tide or brown water, and that's usually mullet pushing all through there. So look where they're moving to and look along the edges and go ahead and work all that through there for the redfish, and you have some luck with that. If they start moving off towards the grass into the sand area, you might want to switch over to like a gulp or anything on plastic that has a scent to it and bounce it off the bottom. And I got a photo there of a redfish of a great young guy we fished this past weekend, and Jeffrey LaFear, he got a nice little slot right there, made him a happy camper for the weekend.
All right, great picture. What do you got for us offshore, Chad?
Yeah, heading offshore out of Mansfield here, move up north out of, for snapper, kingfish, and some ring. And there's got a lot of structure here, 50 to 90 foot of water. So what I recommend right now, still go with about 100, 130 pound leader and drop to the bottom or look for some suspended fish there. And the currents are going to be subsiding because the wind's finally laying down. And like Bing said, that long range forecast looks great. So I'm really looking forward to that. But get that lighter weight and slowly go through that water column. That'll allow you to catch some of those bigger fish suspended. And you'll still have good stuff on the bottom, but try lighter. Also, keep a rod ready and rigged like a 5-aught live bait hook, and get ready to pitch to a ling. You never know when they show up and they're going to pop up, but that little live bait hook lets you hide that bait, and you can pitch to them, and you have a lot better chance of go ahead and catching them and landing them when they do pop up. And I got a picture of a couple pairs of snapper there. Have a great guide. They're about 20 pounds each. And yeah, he was a happy camper there, so that's hard to beat that right there.
That's a nice looking picture.
Anything in the blue water, Bub?
Well, I didn't hit the blue water, but we got in some species there in the kingfish. The kingfish, where everybody's using angle on that, they're definitely in. Try the Rapala divers. Try the shiny one in color. Try those at like 5 to 7 knots. Lots of times even 5, 5.5. Work that area the same 50 to 90 foot of structure. We got a bunch of it out here. Also, try the ribbonfish, works well. And if you want to use that on a free line or put it on a balloon to use it as a float. So the best thing you can do on that ribbonfish, usually on that kingfish rig, is it's got 3 hooks, steel leader. So lay it flat, pin it on, look at it, make sure it's kind of straight, don't have a big old S-curve in it, and go ahead and free line it out. If not, put a balloon on it, put it 12 foot down below, and let it float out with the breeze, and it'll get you farther away from the boat. Sometimes you get some bigger fish up the back there.
All right, great tip. Tell us about the photo of the kingfish.
Yep, got a good king here, guys, about 40 pounds plus that Erica got. And it's a big smoker for the start of the season, so that's a good thing there.
Well, you're not kidding.
Nice, girl
Thanks for all the
power.
great picks, Chad. We'll talk to you again next week. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Lower Coast hotspots from the Lower Coast region. Inshore trout out of the South Padre Island, on Long Bar on the drop-off, and then redfish out of South Padre Island. Head to the gas wells, flats, or east of Duncan's house. And then offshore, snappers, kingfish, cobias out of Port Mansfield. Head to the North Rocks, showing up in depths of 50 to 90 feet of water, Bree.
That picture just screams girl power.
Wow.
Screams it.
Yes.
All right, the Texas Insider Fishing Report is just warming up with so much more to go, so stay hooked to see what the Upper Fresh region has in store. And then Dave Farrell has a little something for us at the CCA workbench. Dave.
Yeah, we're going to talk about going way offshore like I did this weekend. Try to catch some dolphin fish.
Oh, heck yes. And
Mahi-mahi, Dorado, whatever you want to call him.
Also, we have our special guest in the house making us something delicious on the fire disc. Coming
Look
to
at
you,
that big pile of
Listen.
stuff. What are y'all eating?
Oh, well. Shrimp tonight, guys. All right, we'll be right back. Smells
The
good.
Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. The American Fishing Tackle Company. Precision tackle and performance clothing since 1958. Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist. Navionics. We start where the road ends. CCA Texas, a leader in marine conservation. And Okuma, inspired fishing. Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard in 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's BTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Inside you, there's an outside you. A you that takes the road less traveled than the road less traveled. And finds the comforts of home extremely uncomfortable. This is for that you.
remember to follow our guides and be up to date on all things fishing in Texas. Make sure to head over to TexasInsiderFishingReport.com. You can also like us on Facebook at Texas Insider Fishing Report and follow us on Instagram at TifferTV. Also, don't forget to send and tag us in your fish-tastic photos and videos. Now it's time for Rigs and Techniques.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench where we
Yes,
talk
sir.
about rigs and techniques. And Dave, dolphin is something that you really know.
I like to
want to
do it.
know the do's and the don'ts about what to do and
Well,
what
I
not
got
to do.
10 little tips. That's hard to say. We'll see how we can get through it. First, for dolphin like warm water, warm, clear water, but you got to have bait in it. If you find blue water and you find bait and birds, you're going to find dolphin. Blue water, bait, and birds, you're going to find. If one of those things is missing, keep going until you find all three of them. A lot of times you might not find birds, but if you see bait and blue water, stay around there because you're going to find something, especially if there's anything floating in it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where the next thing. If you find weed lines and there's no dolphin on it, go ahead and stop and try to chum them up, because dolphin will become like a satellite to a big chunk of weeds. They will circle around a big weed line or even just a big chunk and will follow it for a long way. Even a school of dolphin will stay with one chunk for a long way. It's been documented. So if you come upon a big weed line and you don't see any dolphins on it and you've got some time, start throwing some chum out, because if there's anywhere around there, they'll come to the back of your boat.
I like it.
Use J hooks when you're targeting dolphin. We like an O'Shaughnessy hook. We talk a lot about using circle hooks. Well, when you're targeting dolphin, because of the way they eat, they usually have a couple of guys with them. There's more than one, so they're very aggressive on the strike, and they'll grab something and they'll run with it really fast.
Right.
And if you lock up with a circle hook as he's running real fast, it will come flinging right out of his mouth. It's just like you jerking on the hook or reeling too fast with a circle hook. So what you got to do is, if you feed him a circle hook, you got to make sure you come tight real slow, and it'll come right up and get him in his corner.
That's great tip.
If not, use the J hook.
I like that.
Use a J hook because they're better. A naked ballyhoo fishing, you're always going to have better hookup ratio if you're just using the naked ballyhoo, because you don't have all this other stuff in front of it.
Well, it goes without saying. Anything
that's naked is going to go down easier. I don't know why. Yeah, you'll make some. Yeah. Anyway,
keep going.
Naked ballyhoos. I got a lot of stuff here that I like to put in front of my ballyhoos, but a naked ballyhoos, you have a better hookup ratio. Bigger dolphin will always be on the outer edges or below schoolie dolphin. If you have a big school of dolphin back there, the bigger ones are going to be down deep or way out on the edge.
So how do you get past
Well,
all
you
that?
throw a great big popper. If you have a good spinning rod, you can throw a popper way out to the outside of all those dolphin and pop that thing, and a lot of times you'll get a great big dolphin to come up and eat it. Or you can get a downrigger or a planer and troll deep around those things. I've won a lot of money one time because I did that. I found a floating Cuban raft with a lot of people fishing on top of it, sitting right on top of it. Well, I got a couple planers out and trolled around it deep and got the big ones.
Wow.
And got,
good move. That was a good move.
A good tip.
Keep going.
Target bigger fish with bigger baits. My buddy Dan Jacobs caught an 80-pound dolphin on a Bart Brasiliano.
Oh my
so
God.
if you're using
on a marlin lure.
Exactly. If you want to catch great big dolphin, you got to use bigger stuff. They will eat little things, but great big ones will eat big stuff. And if you're in a place where there's big dolphins, don't be afraid to use big ballyhoos, big lures.
I got a question. Is it safe to say that when you have a big bait, it eliminates the smaller fish sometimes from biting because it's just too big?
Correct. If you're in a tournament or something where only big fish counts, don't pull a bunch of little stuff, because you're going to be fighting those little ones all the time, just wasting your time. My favorite dolphin bait is probably any island lure with a ballyhoo. I mean, I like a big island lure and a ballyhoo, and or a sea witch, a big black and red sea witch, and get this, giant split tail mullet. It gets my big dolphins. If that's the one I catch great big dolphin on the shotgun, same thing that I use for a wahoo.
Something
it's
long.
my big wahoo thing is also that one.
Two more.
When you're getting one alongside the boat, keep his head in the water. if you try to lift a dolphin's head out of the water, he's going to want to jump. And trying to gaff a dolphin when it's jumping is pretty hard. It's not that easy. And you want to try to aim for his head. You know, you want to get his eyeballs. You want to knock his eyeballs out. Because if you do that, then you're not putting a big hook in his meat and tearing up all that beautiful meat that you're trying to catch him for anyway.
Last one, quickly.
I think that's all of them, dude.
Dead bait?
Keep one in the water until he quits puking. Because that's what he's doing. He's puking and chumming for you. As soon as he stops that, pull him out and get another one out there.
All right,
man,
Bree.
way
I
to
know you
end
learned
on
a
that.
lot. That dolphin is your favorite fish, so let's end on that one.
It is, and I'm having to stare at this fire dish that's cooking lots of shrimp and pasta. It looks so good. I'm getting distracted. Okay, let's check in with our Upper Fresh guide, Sir Rick Carter, who's focused in on Lake Allen Henry, Possum Kingdom, and Lake Fork this weekend. Let's hear it, Rick.
Hey guys, yes, we got some action out on the northwest side of my region. Lake Allen Henry, the water is up to 78 degrees. The bass are biting good on swim jigs and shaky heads and watermelon red and watermelon candy color. The fish are in about 15 to 30 foot on the rocky points. It's a real deep lake. Allen Henry's a beautiful place here in West Texas. The bite has been good late day around the south end of the lake. Swim baits on about a 3/4 ounce head on deeper points later in the day. Moving on to Lake Fork, the big females are on the move here at Fork. They're moving to the main lake. All the ridges and channel swings on the lower lake are holding some giant schools. You can graph them up, catch them with Carolina rigs, football jigs, and a PBJ color are the best stuff going right now on Fork. Back out west to Possum Kingdom, the lake's a little off color from the rain, and the fish are biting good on medium diving crankbaits, split shot flukes, and also Texas rigs around the Hell's Gate and the State Park area is catching those bass.
All right, what else you got for me? You got something in Lake Fork?
Yeah, I got a photo there, Rick, of a guy from New Jersey. Y'all got that?
Yeah, man, it looks good. Tell me about this photo.
That fella came with his brother from Jersey to Lake Fork, and he throws up on this pond dam, and we're all talking, and we look, and his line passed the boat going the other way, and he had 11-pound, 3-ounce bass on that.
Nice. Hey, it's better to be lucky than good, my friend. All right, you got another species. Talk about the crappie.
Yes, the crappie on Lake Fork are about 16 to 20 foot on man-made brush. The bonehead glider, again, in chartreuse white is catching them. And electric chicken, Bubba's electric chicken jigs are good on all the brush piles that are man-made. We got a lady there, Lynn Roller, with his wife, Dolores. She's 84 years old, fishing with Terry Moon on Fork, and they had a blast.
Man, how young was she, Rick? 84?
84.
I love seeing that. All right, you know what else I love seeing is I love seeing my line go across the water, Rick. So I want to ask you, if I were to come there tomorrow, or if I called you for a charter tomorrow, would you recommend me to go crappie fishing or bass fishing? What would you say?
If you called me, I'm going to say bass, because that's all I do is catch big bass. But the crappie fishing, if it's someone that wants a real relaxing day, you can get out here with Terry Moon or Brad Williams, and there's really great crappie fishing. It's a great trip.
All right, well, I look forward to doing that. I'm going to bring Bree as long as she keeps behaving, and we'll come out and go fishing with you. All right, bud, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Upper Fresh hotspots. Our guide says Lake Fork, crappie on the timber in 16 to 20 feet of water. Bubba's electric chicken jig is going to work for them. And then bass, big bass are being caught on Carolina rigs and deep diving crankbaits at Lake Fork as well, Bree.
Okay, Texas anglers, we have an exciting next half of our show left with our Lower Fresh and Upper Coast Region guides, as well as Lou from Fire Disc, who's cooking up something delicious.
Lou, you got some steaming going on there. I love it. I'm so hungry.
Yeah, you're gonna like this when I'm done with this tonight, Rick. I made you a little special hot Italian sausage with shrimp pasta. heavy whipping cream, so everybody's going to eat tonight.
All right.
Very nice.
All right.
All right,
Looking
guys.
Only on a fire disc.
Stick around for a report and the recipe. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Contender Boats, performance through innovation. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. CCA Star, fishing fun for giant prizes and scholarships. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. And King Sailfish Mounts, www.kingsailfish.com.
At Yamaha, reliability is a family tradition. Meet the next generation. 4 new advanced technology-inspired inline 4-cylinder performers. Bred from the reliability and boater satisfaction that is part of Yamaha's DNA. They prove that when power gets lighter, faster, stronger, and smarter, boating gets even better. And more satisfying for boaters like you.
Hey, how do you like your Contender? How do I like my Contender? What's not to like? Dude, I just saw a Contender, and man, I gotta give me one.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left, there's no cycle.
When it comes to sailfishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Well, I'm here with Lou Gaspin, our pro staff with Fire Disc. Lou, we met over a dish just like this a long time ago, and I want you to tell me, what in the world are you cooking? And more importantly, what are you cooking it on?
Okay, well, Rick, this is a fire disc. You've seen these before. And I was just showing tonight that fire disc not only will fry fish, cook hamburgers, hot dogs, bratwurst, steaks, you know, it'll do a low country boil, and I'm doing a nice little pasta dish. This is hot Italian sausage with shrimp and bow tie pasta. I use some heavy whipping creams and a little bit of garlic, a little bit of onion, mushrooms, you know, and I'm gonna feed you here tonight.
All right, so tell us the do's and the don'ts in regards to cooking on this big, it's really cool. It's like anybody who ever cooked on an old iron skillet should be able to really relate to this, except this has got some wonderful sides to it.
Yeah, the fire disc, you treat it like a cast iron skillet, okay? It's high carbon steel, okay? It's built to last, cooks it all. It's, you clean up is like a cup of water and some paper towels. Don't wash it with soap. Don't scrub it like that. All you've got to do is clean it with soap, you know, with just regular water and paper towels. It's all powder coated. It has a 5-year warranty. As you know, you've seen them before. It's got a 40,000 BTU burner. And the nice thing about the fire disc is it's the largest cooking surface on the smallest propane bottle on the market today. You can use a 1-pound bottle, or you can adapt it to a 20-pound bottle.
Love it.
Yeah.
Now, Lou, I got a question for you. You know, pasta at times can be challenging because you can undercook it, you can overcook it. Is there some secret that you would do in this particular dish?
Rick, I've done it for so many years, so long, I kind of know when it's done, and you'll let me know if it's cooked properly when it's done. You know, usually 15, 20 minutes boiling and stuff like that, but I put the pasta in here dry, and I'm letting it soak up the heavy whipping cream and some of the flavors from the shrimp and the sausage and stuff, and I think it'll be just great. You know, I cooked earlier for you guys. I made some brats and stuff like that, and it's so fast.
All right, so let's go over the exact ingredients that we had here and the process quickly. So you started off with...
I started off with a little olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, because it has a high burn rate.
Right.
Okay? You know, not the canolas and stuff. Extra virgin olive oil. Put some minced garlic in here. I got it going.
Right.
Threw some chopped onions in here.
Got it.
Okay, got that searing up, you know. Then I put my, I took hot Italian sausage.
Right.
In the casing, I took the casing off, crumbled it and put it in here and started stir frying it in with my mushrooms and my garlic. As that cooked a little bit, then I put in some portobello mushrooms.
Nice.
You know, and just seared those in there with the sausage. As I got that, Rick, then what I did was I put in our whipping cream.
Right.
About 20 ounces of whipping cream in here, 24 ounces. And then I put about 12 ounces of crushed tomatoes in here to give it a little red.
Well, let's try it. But you know, the thing that comes to mind, Lou, is how portable this is. Looks like something I could use at a tailgate at a football game. I could take it to deer camp. I could take it to my hunting camp. Or I can actually use it and take it in the boat as well.
Oh, absolutely, Rick.
Dip me up, man. I've been standing this steam long enough. I can't take it anymore.
Okay, I'll dip you up. Here, let me get this for you.
We got a fork over here somewhere, I hope.
All right. We had some forks. Hang on.
Nice.
No, wait a minute.
Look at that.
You're not done yet. Hang on.
Oh, yeah?
We got to do a little Parmesan cheese. Parsley.
Oh, bacon.
Yeah, I got a little.
Nice.
Crumbled bacon.
Lou, you married?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Hey,
let's get a
that
picture.
really looks good.
Let me set this down a minute and get you a fork.
I'll hold that for you. We'll find one.
We'll find a fork.
I appreciate it.
It's absolutely
very,
delicious.
very
I can guarantee it, buddy.
This really looks good.
I got some more stuff in store for you,
Thank you
too.
so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, you can add that to your summer body menu right there. Bacon, pasta, it's all looks so good on that fire disc. All right, y'all, in the teeny tiny lower fresh region, it sounds like all the bites are on fire and ready to be fished this weekend. So Matt, why don't you enlighten us on that situation while we sit in the studio and eat some pasta? How about that?
Well, I'm hungry. Y'all need
I know,
to quit
right?
that. But I'm supposed to talk about fishing.
Got to talk about fishing. Let's go.
All right. Well, let's kick off our bass report this week. I'm going to start off with Lake Falcon. I mean, she's been showing her colors lately. She's, you know, I'm down here right now guiding, and we're catching a ton of numbers of fish. Big ones are mixed in. We're not catching a ton of giants, but we'll catch, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 really big ones a day mixed in with 50 or 60 other fish. So it's a lot of fun. We're catching those fish on football jigs. Also a stand-up head with a big worm on it, a big straight tail, young mighty worm, 11-inch worm, and Carolina rig Magnum trick worms. We're also catching some of those fish on a crankbait. Blueback chartreuse or citrus shad is a favorite color. Most of those fish are on rocks in 10 to 18 foot of water. Been really good. Lake Amistad is still on fire. The top water bite there is off the chart right now. Catching those fish on a spook or a strike ring, sexy dog around the shallow hydrilla on the main lake points. And they're also in the middle of the drains where the hydrilla is growing really well in the middle of the deeper drains. You got to have a little wind on them to get them to come up and bite that top water, though. There's also some fish on the deeper hydrilla edges on the main lake. And they're biting lightweight Texas rig, soft plastics, and green pumpkins and watermelon colors. Shifting on back toward the east a little bit, Lake Bastrop fishing has been really good along the edges of the eelgrass lately. Throw a hunchback wake bait or top water for some fantastic action there right now on that smaller power plant lake. Going to shift on a little bit. We're going to talk about the bass on Fayette County Lake. Fayette County is one of those lakes right now, you really can catch them how you like to fish. Pick what you like to do and go do it. They're just biting really well. You can catch them in the discharge on green pumpkin trick worms. You can also catch them flipping the timber in 4 to 8 foot of water on soft plastics. But the most exciting bite lately has been on spooks and poppers on the windy points from topwaters. You know, that topwater bite is always fun when you get a visual like that. But in general, Texas down here is just, in Texas and South Texas, that region, summertime is a lot of fun.
So tell me about the photo here, Matt.
That was a customer of mine a couple days ago. Rhonda caught her a 9.69. She would have swore she had her a 10-pounder, but when you put it on the scales, it wasn't quite there. So we took a picture and let her go.
Wow, nice fish. All right, what else you got for us this week, bud?
We got the white bass at Lake Somerville. They're still really active. Biting a 1-ounce slab spoon down close to the dam. There's a lot of surface cooling going on. You can visually see those fish come up busting the shad on top. If you're not on top, you just need to find them on your low range electronics. Look for the shad, look for the schools of fish, and they're not all that hard to catch when you can find the groups of them right now.
So I got a question for you before you go on to your catfish there, Chief. So on those white bass, is that more of an early morning bite, or does it happen throughout the whole day, Matt?
Hey, the surface part is going to happen mid-morning usually. Sun comes up. It's not going to be a daylight type of bite. They usually scoot a little better after the sun comes up. And they'll get that way up into the midday. You know, it'll be sporadic off and on. There'll be times when they're really active and times when they're down. So you just kind of have to adjust to what's going on at the time.
All right, tell me about the cats.
On Choke Canyon Reservoir, catfish, that's really a good catfish lake. Lots of blues and channel cats. They're biting really good right now on dough bait and chicken livers on the edges of the shallow flats from 5 to 10 foot of water.
You know, Matt, you do a great report every week. We appreciate all the extra effort from the Yeti Lower Fresh region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Lower Fresh region. He says largemouth bass at Lake Falcon are biting great on the rock ledges from mid-lake south. Football jigs and big worms are going to be the ticket for those big bass. And then white bass at Lake Somerville, really active on slab spoons around that dam.
Wow, it sounds like all the lakes in the Lower Fresh region are on fire this week.
Yeah, man.
On
we
fire?
just have to go on fire.
On fire.
Oh,
How
like
is that
it.
possible? Was it good?
Yeah,
I'm so
it was
jealous.
so good.
I'm so jealous.
I'll let you have some in a minute.
Oh, wow. He's
Commercial
sharing.
break.
He's sharing. Okay, now let's welcome Captain Caleb Hart back, who has the Upper Coast inshore and offshore report for y'all. What's the fishing looking like this weekend, Caleb?
Hey, guys. It's a lot of rain, a lot of wind, but we're pretty used to it. Hopefully it'll calm down here in the next couple of days approaching June, but the trout are still going really good out on the reefs in East Bay. And, this is always going to be a promising way to target trout here in Galveston Bay Complex. It's going to be your most consistent, day in and day out, pattern to go out and just target trout. But, really, they're going to stay over there pretty much all summer. And then the bite's going to get hotter, up north on the channel and going up into Trinity Bay and all that whenever the wind starts to stabilize and dies down. So, it'll open up a lot more opportunities. But right now, East Bay is still the way to do it. And, all the reefs in East Bay are good. Hannah's Reef, which is, your biggest chain of reefs, is going to be the most consistent just because it holds more of a biomass of fish there. Pepper Grove, Elm, all the other reefs are going to be productive. Just finding where they want to be that day, where the best bite is on each reef. But drifting across the whole reef can be a good tactic to find out exactly where the schools of fish are going to hang out. But really finding out where they want to be is a lot better. Finding those drop-offs, finding those hard spots and those edges, it really allows you to pinpoint those schools and allows you to stay on them a lot longer and, catching more. But depending on how the tide moves across the reef determines on where those fish will set up on those differences in structure. So really use your, depth finder, find those changes in bottom, use the navionics, and, check it out, chart it out, and then pinpoint those fish. But mirror lure Little Johns are normally always a great lure to locate the school. And once you find them, it really doesn't matter what you're throwing. I like a purple demon, the water's green to kind of sandy, and then a chartreuse ice or something, a little more translucent and whenever the water's clear. 1/8-ounce jig heads are always going to be the best, but whenever that tide's really smoking in, a 1/4 ounce will help you get through the water column better.
All right, what else you got for us inshore, Big Matt?
Yeah, we got a pretty good little flounder bite going over on Sabine. It's been good with a high tide. The trout bite's been kind of weak over there because the tide's just so high. A lot of that bait's pushed up the marsh right now, but it's really kicked things off with the flounder. And with that high tide, it'll really stack a lot of this fish up right on the bank. And you've got a lot of grass and cane patches and root balls and stuff right there on the bank. So this flounder are going to use it for good structure and chase bait right there on the bank. But any piece of visible structure that looks like it would hold a flounder is probably holding several right now. And, go-to flounder bait's just a gold curly-tailed grub with like an 1/8 ounce or a smaller jig head. And if they aren't eating that, they probably just aren't eating. But just remember when you're flounder fishing and, not work your lure too fast, keep the slack out of your line so you can feel them. And these flounder, they've been in all sizes with a few really big ones in, 4 to 6 pound range. And I've got a picture there of that flounder was actually caught on my boat. It was like a week ago. It was right over 7 pounds. That was a pretty good one.
All right, Caleb, before you go any further, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Navionics. And this is exactly a place you've been talking about for weeks, the Hannah Reef area. Now, this is what it typically looks like in your plotter, guys, with the general navigation that's built in. But if you take a look at what Navionics through the fishing chip or the sonar charts, look what ends up happening. And these were those drop-offs that he was talking about. The other thing that I notice here is I actually see where people have added their input through the community layer by telling us about where they caught a fish on different times of the year. And you can follow these little things and it'll actually help you have a better understanding of why the fish are staging on all those drop-offs that Caleb was talking about. All right, let's go offshore, Caleb.
Yeah, man, let's do it. The wind here has been just ruthless for the past few weeks, and not really a lot of people have been able to go offshore. There's been, little windows where the wind will lay, and most everybody's just going out and catching some cobia. Just because that's your best bet, since you don't have to run that very far out here for them. These cobia, they're going to be on the navigation buoys from the jetties, so about 5 miles off. Any type of, near shore structure, anything standing above the water, same routine. They're either on top or bottom. You can jig for them with bucktail or curly-tailed jigs, big swim baits. Those are all great lure choices. Those cobia are, 65 pounds. I've heard a couple reports of a few that are even bigger. So that's something to go look for in that Star tournament. And then the kingfish, we actually went kingfishing today. It was pretty gnarly out there, but when the weather allows, the kingfish can be caught on gas and oil rigs 10 to 15 miles out. And dead sardines are best for consistent bites. Just remember to give them about a 3-second count before you come tight. These kings are going to be about 30 pounds. Today they're about 15 to 18 pounds, but there's some big ones out there too. And this will get a lot more consistent when the weather's more forgiving.
All right, good to have you back. Thank you so much, Caleb. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the CCA Upper Coast hotspots. Inshore trout at the reefs in East Galveston Bay, Hannah's Reef, and all of the surrounding reefs are the most consistent. Drift over the high spots in the edges with MirrOlure Little Johns with an 1/8 ounce to a 1/4 ounce jig head are hard to beat. The purple and chartreuse colors are the best depending on the water clarity. And then offshore, cobia is on the near shore structures and navigational buoys 3 to 5 miles out of Galveston. Big swim baits, bucktails, curly-tailed jigs are the best. The cobias are gonna be up to 65 pounds with a possibility of one even bigger.
Bigger?
That's like getting a pageant queen as your co-host.
Oh, shoot.
Bigger.
Wow, okay. Well, time flies when you're having fun, and that seems to be all that we do here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, because last but not least, we have the Middle Fresh region next, and seeing what Dave has for us at the new product, CCA Workbench. Dave, what are you doing?
I got some products that are going to knock you out.
Whoa!
Oh, come on,
How
Dave.
corny is that?
That was pretty cute. That was pretty cute. Almost
Is
as
that
good as
corny
mine.
enough?
I like
pretty
it.
corny.
I like it.
We'll be back with all the knockouts and more.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder. Rapala, catch the latest at Rapala.com. Yeti, built for the wild. Building Conservation Trust, CCA's National Habitat Program. StarTron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
The ultimate predator has evolved again. Now, Yamaha VMAX SHO Performance is prowling the waters in 4 hungry, exciting new models. With their 4 valves per cylinder and double overhead cam fuel-injected design, These advanced 4-stroke Predators are taking performance to a whole new level. Vicious, lean, efficient. VMAX SHO. The pack is growing.
Thanks for tuning in to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes as well as special segments right on our homepage. Just head to TexasInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up.
Welcome to Power Pole's Tip of the Week. This week's tip, the Power Pole Micro. You know, the Micro has a lot of cool options, and like we discussed last week, it's powered by a 12-volt wiring system, which you can hook up to any battery anywhere on your boat. But what about the kayaker, the canoer, the paddleboarder, or the John boat that has a tiller handle outboard and doesn't have a 12-volt battery on board? No problem. The folks at Power Pole have come out with an optional lithium battery pack, which installs this easy and fully charged, which it comes with a charger, gives you 100 cycles up and down on your 8.5-foot spike. Now next week we're going to discuss customizing your 8.5-foot spike to fit your fishing style and needs for your fishing vessel, and that's this week's Power Pole Tip of the Week.
You know, Dave, as well as you were well aware of, we're here at the CCA workbench, and I know that Power Pole tip got you, so guess what?
Yeah, I want one of those, man.
I'm going to get you one.
I got to have one of those for
I'm
my
going to get you
Ellsbury.
a micro.
Yeah, I need one of those.
And I'll show you how to customize the steak.
All right, cool.
So what do we got here?
Well,
Customizing
start
a
off,
lot of stuff.
we're gonna go with the new concept lures. This fella in Jacksonville makes these, and these are his popping corks, and they're called the Rattling Popper. He likes to put a lot of rattles on them, and he's got a lot of rattles on those things. And they come in those 3 sizes: 2-inch, which is a 3/8 ounce, and 2.5-inch, which is 3/4, and the 4-inch, which is 1 1/4 ounce. I mean, this is a big popping cork. I mean, you
hurt somebody with it.
Exactly. It'll cast a long way. You can fish big baits under it. It won't, your big baits aren't going to take it down. And the guys who use these things have done some really, really great things. And they're also really good if you use them in conjunction with these. He makes these things called the mini no-brainers, and they're little circle hooks with a shank, with a weight on the shank. And they are deadly effective as hooking things, man.
I bet.
They go straight down, and then they don't come out. They're really good, and they'd be good for if you put a shrimp on there underneath that popping
I bet
cork.
this would be great for snappers.
Snappers. You could put a little crab on those things and fish them. They're
Like
just
it.
the little no-brainers.
Good job.
Really good stuff.
What else?
Okay, this is some lunker hunts. These are called the links, the lunker hunt links. I saw these the other day when I was fishing. Trying to get some of that catfish stuff. And I've got a lake in my backyard that's got tons of little shad. And at this time of year, they're all getting in these little chains, at night. They're either eating or making babies, because that's about all those fish want to do anymore, is to eat and make babies. So they're doing one or the other. And when they're out there in that little chain, I thought, man, I need to have something that would imitate that. And these lunker hunt links are perfect for that. There's a hinged bait with 2 baits on it. They float real high.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you can walk the dog with them. They also make one that comes in a snake color and also a snake pattern, so that it does a snake walk when you do it.
Cool.
So I'm real excited about giving those a try in my lake.
And these look like some monster jigs.
Yeah, these are First Light tackle. This is called their sweeper jig. First Light, they make a lot of jigs, and they make a lot of snook jigs and stuff. But this is a sweeper jig, and this jig would be great for tarpon, for big snappers, cobia, and it's got the flare hawk on it. That's called the sweeper because if you notice, its head is kind of wide,
right,
and it's flat on the bottom. So you can just retrieve this jig. You don't have to worry about bouncing too much. It won't hang in the bottom as much as a regular flat face jig,
Right.
and it'll move a lot more just with just retrieving it. So if you're not a big, real good at jig fishing, this is a perfect one for you. It's called the Sweeper from First Light Tackle.
You know what I like about this, Dave, is that it's tied in a way that you can still take a live bait and put on here and not foul the
Foul up
material.
the material, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
Nicely done.
That's very
fellas.
good. All right, and this here is we got some Fish Monkey performance gloves, and those are
They're named after Bree, Fish Monkey.
Well, those are Charles Perry gloves, the Beastmaster wiring gloves. Those are for real heavy stuff. If you're going for marlin or got some heavy wire leaders or whatnot. And these are the quick release. These are medium weight. They're both Kevlar. They got crush resistance, exposed fingers. Really good stuff from Fish Monkey.
CCA, baby.
Yeah, we got the CCA shirts. It's the 40th anniversary, so they're trying to make a big push with these shirts.
Now where can we find these, Dave?
You got to go to ccatexas.org. These are only online, and it's because they're celebrating.
These are cool shirts.
Yes,
dude.
they got the scale pattern. They're handcrafted and sewn in Texas. 100% poly, crew neck. They're breathable, UV protection, everything that you expect from a good performance shirt. And if you want to help out CCA, if you're living in Texas, you want to help out CCA Texas, and this is how you do it. Some of the proceeds go to some of their habitat reconstruction. So, get out there and get yourself a shirt and help out CCA Texas at the same time.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
CCATexas.org.
Yeah, good job. All right, Bree, we got another plan. What is it?
Fishing Monkey. Really?
Yes.
Okay. It seems our Middle Fresh guide, Steven Johnson, has Lake Belton on lockdown for you guys this weekend with a little Lake Livingston mixed in. Hope you got out to fish this holiday weekend, Steven.
I did. I spent a little time in the airport flying around. It's a little promotion stuff up in the very north part of North Dakota. So,
North
they kind of made fun
Dakota.
of me up there, Bree, if you can believe that.
I was in
They said
Illinois.
they really had a hard time understanding me.
I can't believe
But, hey,
that.
I would like to do a shout out there to Lake Belton. Lake Belton, a lot of people don't. If you don't know Lake Belton, half of Lake Belton is on Fort Hood. So for all the military guys out there, it's a big week for them. It was a big week last weekend. If you got some time, it's an awesome lake, and man, shout out to all the military guys and families, and they're all out there for us. But let's talk about a little bass fishing to start with. The bass fishing's really good on square bill crankbaits in shad and perch color. Also spinner baits and chatterbaits with a silver blade and a white skirt. Your Texas rig and Carolina rig, like a 7 to 10 inch worm or a baby brush hog is working real good out on the main lake points in like 10 to 18 feet of water. There's also some real good smallmouth mixed in with the black bass in that 10, 18 foot. So when you set the hook, you really just don't know what you're going to get, a black or a smallmouth. Pretty awesome fish in there. And one thing, too, is you're going along the bank, if you can find some brim beds, not all the brim are totally done bedding, so if you can find some beds, there's some pretty good fish hanging around those beds. You might not be able to see them, just back off or wait a few minutes and come back over and throw some kind of little small popper bait or a wacky worm in watermelon red or just watermelon seed, and you'll be surprised what you can get. Staying at Lake Belton, the hybrid fishing had some good reports the last couple days. Using live and dead shad. They're fishing from 15 to 20 feet of water, just tight lining. Once you get a bite or 2 bites or 3 bites and you get those fish schooled up and get them feeding real good, you can drop just a silver slab, 3/4 or 1 ounce, spoon just straight down. The biggest deal is just make sure these fish are suspended over 45 to 65 foot of water, so just don't let that bait get blown, because if the bait gets blown, most of the time they will not go down. Those fish will only come up and feed, so keep that in mind. Also on Lake Belton, the catfish is really good. The channels in the blues are coming on stink bait and chicken livers in 12 to 20 foot of water. If you caught last week's show, Dave and Rick was talking about the range cubes and the sour mash and all that. This is a great time of the year to do that. What I like to do is try to get you 3 or 4 different spots, go by, throw your bait out, give it about 30 minutes, and then come back and fish that. So what you can do first thing in the morning, you can go and you can drop your bait in 3 or 4 different places and then come back and rotate those places, and as it slows down, you can hop over to your other spots. In the yellow cat, the flatheads, always remember You can catch a few on your stink bait, but most of those are going to be shad, and live perch working the best.
All right, what else you got for us, Steven?
All right, over on Lake Livingston, we've got a tournament this weekend. A bunch of the guys, Texas Team Trail is going to be over there this weekend. The bass are really slow, so we're going to wait and see. We can talk about that next week. But the white bass are really doing good over there. They're catching them on slab spoons in 8 to 15 feet of water. The fish are not schooling on the surface, but they're really schooled up down, in that 6 to 15 foot. So really watch for the seagulls. When you see the seagulls, don't run right up on top of the seagulls. Just kind of stay back and cast. And once you get those fish feeding, then you can get on top of them and jig it vertical. So that's working real good early in the morning. And then late in the afternoon's working good. We're having a lot of thunderstorms this time of year blow up. So if you get a lot of big waves and cloud and dark, it's not working the best. But, hey, school's out here in Texas, so, man, take your time, take your kids, and get out there on the lake and enjoy yourself.
All right, thank you, Steven. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the StarTron Middle Fresh Region hotspots. Belton Lake hybrids good on live shad in the south end of the lake around the dam area. Once you get the fish feeding good, you can drop a 3/4 slab spoon to them. Man, you want to talk about a slab.
Just
Look
like
at
that.
this. Boom.
Just like
Lou,
that.
thank you
We've
so
got
much
dinner.
for coming in.
Well, we're gonna leave
Did
it
you have
to
a bite of this yet?
I'm going to. Let's all do it. Good
All
thing
right.
this is the same
There
color
you
as my
go.
shirt
I'll
right
eat
now.
some.
Oh, this goes.
I'll eat
Bye.
We'll see you guys later. Look at this.
We'll see y'all next week. We'll be here eating.
Oh, yeah.
Bye, God.
That doesn't
Oh,
suck.
my God.